The Moreness Show with hosts Sil and Beena is about to bring depth and value into your life.
We're on, we're live.
Hello and welcome to the Moreness Show with Sil and Beena, and we are here. Today is a bit different because today we don't have actually a very predefined and adjusted topic for today. No, so this is how it is going to be, that we are just going to share, and we will see that because Sil has a very specific term for that, and he says that when he actually mentioned it to me, that today's topic is Moreness in action.
That's right. We're going to demonstrate it, not talk about it.
Yes, yes. And when he says that, and I was like, okay, wow. So what we are actually going to, okay, before I started my things and I will share with you, I would just want to say that right now, the first thing is before the show, what actually happened, that was the mutual trust.
Yes.
Because when Sil says that, okay, Beena, today's topic is not going to be any specific topic and we are just going to start. And I said, okay. No idea, zero idea what we are going to do. And he has that trust in me.
Capital T trust. Yes.
Exactly. Yes. And also that there is something more to that, because what I'm sharing right now, this is what Sil has been working with me for me. This is what he has been doing. Like, okay, we are doing this for last more than 3 years now. And this is what he has been working with me for me, because he has given me no memorization, nothing to prepare. If you don't have anything, you need to establish yourself in a way that you can actually handle that. You can be appropriate, and also that you need to prepare it in any situation about anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is the magic of appropriateness.
Yes. Exactly. And capital T trust. You know, what's the difference in ordinary trust? Mostly ordinary trust is just like a hope and a wish, and basically you kind of thinking of it as bailing you out of trouble, right? And you say, well, I got nothing left. Capital T trust, what's the difference? Capital T trust is founded on impeccability. You've been impeccable, in other words. So when you've been impeccable, that means you've done everything you can to minimize the chances of the unforeseen, which means you've done your homework, you've done your research, you've done your preparation, you're working on your skills, your abilities, you're improving yourself, you're working on stretching your awareness, enhancing your awareness, developing your awareness, maximizing your skills of hearing, capital H hearing, maximizing your skills of adaptability, fluidity, flexibility, yes, maximizing your skills of understanding. And all of that enables one to share. Beena, have we been practicing sharing?
Oh, yes. Like, I don't know. Because when actually we don't do that. I cannot
Precisely. Precisely. So sharing is critical to Moreness culture, right, Beena? Yes, it's the heart of Moreness culture. So all we've got to do in the show is share, really. We practice this all the time, every single day, non-stop. So when we come and do a show, we don't have to have a topic. Any topic will do. Because we don't even need a topic. We can just talk about anything as it comes up in us. And of course, when you trust yourself, you trust your ability to be creative. You trust that when we start to talk, something more will come. I never thought we'd talk about capital T trust, but look here, we talk about capital T trust. One of the core things, appropriateness, right? So what is your thought of the day today, Beena? I'm keen to hear. Because Beena, when we do our lives, Beena always shares a thought of the day, even if we're doing a capital R reading, which is a very focused theme, but it starts off with that while I'm sharing and doing sorts of, because a live has a lot of things. I don't have an engineer like Christian here to do it all for me. I have to do it myself. So, yeah.
Okay, before I share my thought of the day, I just want to ask you something, because you mentioned that capital T trust is not something based on that, okay, imagining something being delusional and unrealistic and all that. So what you are saying is The capital T trust is not the alpha, it's the omega. That okay, you have done all your things, and then you go to the trust. Then you leave it to trust. Yes? Am I getting this right?
Yes, exactly. You've done all you can do, and therefore your trust is not hollow. Yes?
Exactly. Because
And that's
why I was
huge.
asking you. Why
Yeah,
I ask you,
yeah,
because
yeah.
we have been taught, and our minds are so trained to, when it comes to trust, then you have to just trust and just leave everything. You don't need to be scrupulous about your things. You don't need to be thorough about your thinking and planning and, of course, a strategy and everything. No, it is just like, okay, I'm trusting. It is like actually without having your skills, you're just jumping off the cliff.
Yeah.
And then you are saying, okay, yes, in some cases, I feel that in some cases you have to do that. But even in that particular situation, when you really have to jump off the cliff and you don't know that what you are going to do. But even that in that situation, you have been working. Yes, not in that particular way. In those things, actually, what comes up really forward to you is the character. Once you have this character already built in and established in your being, then yes, you can jump off the cliff and grow your wings. Okay, I love this saying from Ray Bradbury, because I don't know, this is
Jump off the cliff and grow your wings on the way down.
Exactly. And it
Now,
was
oh, go ahead.
it sounds like very okay, yeah, okay, I'm just going to do that, whatever. It is not like that, because someone who has been actually climbing that mountain and to actually be at the cliff, this is something we always forget about, that we don't pay attention to that why someone was there. Yes, and why they are even thinking about jumping off the cliff. It is not like to suicide. It is not to kill yourself.
Oh, no.
Actually, this is a
Beena,
deliberate decision. Yes.
Yeah. Would you say that your capital T trust, therefore, if I'm to do a repeat back of what you're saying, is a profound trust in your own character?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is
Wonderfully said
impeccability.
together. Yes.
Impeccability is not about being right. Impeccability is not about being perfect. Impeccability is about doing all you can. Exactly. Making best use of your energy, which is doing all you can, right? You can think of impeccability as being the best prepared that you can be. Why? Because you've enhanced your personal skills. I've developed my ability to be flexible, to be fluid, to be adaptable, to be able to see consequence, to be able to see implications, to be able to extrapolate, to be able to anticipate. So many skills, and to be creative. You remember when we did poetry and art, right?
Yes.
Beena, when we were involved in that big time.
Yes.
And we specifically focused on the trust of being creative.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And
that
was
the most
fantastic.
magical experience.
It is very incredible, yes. And it stays with us, right? We never lost that skill. Because when you trust your ability to be creative and you trust the creative process, which is completely and utterly venturing out into the unknown. Yes. But it's also venturing into moreness, right?
Yes. Yes.
But you don't know what's coming, but you trust there's a moreness there. And that's the difference between moreness and unknown. When we really get into that creative process, which is a whole, we might do a show on that next week, Beena.
Oh yes, to be creative. To be deliberately creative.
Correct. To be deliberately creative. And you might say, to be deliberately spontaneous, because the creativity that we have here is a spontaneous creativity. You say, well, how can you be deliberately spontaneous? Okay. I want to say, what were you saying about jumping and going down with your wings on the way down?
Yes, okay, jumping off the cliff, and of course later you can grow your wings. This is the saying.
Right.
But what I was saying, that we always miss that part, that why someone was at the cliff at that point. So it is not something. It is not something randomly you can just you can jump off the cliff. No. What it is not someone who is like just randomly crossing the road and put himself or themselves in the traffic and just hit by a car. No. Someone who was there, already climbed that mountain. We just pay attention to that. It is not a random thing, because mostly people get a false idea and false perception. Jumping off the cliff is like, just having trust. Trust is not
No.
something random. It cannot ever be. It can never be. Because
Right. So,
otherwise it's a foolishness.
oh yeah, exactly. Would you
Foolishness.
say, Beena, there's an implication, at least the way you resonate with that quote, there's an implication that you are on that cliff because you did everything that you could do. You were impeccable, and life, the
Absolutely.
universe, attunement brought you to that cliff. In
Absolutely.
other words, there's no other choice but to jump. It's the right thing to do. It's not an act of desperation. It's not a suicide.
No,
Okay. Now,
exactly.
in Moreness culture, we love perspective shifting. Yes, it's one of our key tools.
Now
Right?
we are jumping towards a most
Oh,
favorite topic.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm not going to go into perspective shifting. Because of perspective shifting, I want to share. I didn't want to just share something. I wanted to point out this is Moreness in action. And perspective shifting is an incredible Moreness tool. Incredible. Just take many of the things that you think you know, and suddenly you start to gain more perspectives. And wow, I didn't realize that. And the more you see, the more you're able to put the whole together. The greater whole that you cannot see from one perspective. This is the
Yes.
incredibleness, and that greater whole, that's Moreness.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
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 However, talking about Beena and the cliff, I wish
Yes.
to just read something. Okay?
Okay.
Indulge me.
Okay.
Looking towards the sky, with one foot
Oh.
in the air, I'm standing in the middle of nowhere. My heart is sinking with a burn, clenching me the chains of uncertainty. Shall I jump or kiss the ground, leave the turf and fly around? My foot on ground is sprouting down. All my nerves are getting numb. Nothing can make time freeze. Why, we think the spring's eve. I would rather jump. I would rather
I
jump.
would rather jump. Yes.
Reason.
Yes. Thank you for
This poem
reminding
gives
me
me
this.
so much joy and is so much moreness. And I think this is such a profound poem. It's a moreness poem. And I call it real poetry. I really love poetry, but I'm very fussy when it comes to poetry.
Oh
To
yes.
me, there are very few poems all together that I've encountered, no matter the famous poems, whatever, that I feel are real poems. Some of them I feel like, come on, really now, seriously, right? This poem is a real poem. Yeah, it just grabs you, and you see, it's making that point now of what Beena was saying about the jumping off the cliff, but
Yes.
from another angle, from a completely other perspective, right?
Yes.
No, nothing can make time freeze. Why, we think the spring's ease. Just the profoundness of that, the depth of that, the wisdom of
Yes.
this, yeah, the
That was
insight
this. Specifically, it was about the overwhelmness of the situation and circumstances, and
at
uh,
that time.
and and yes, of course, and it happens with everyone, with all of us at some point, with different degrees, of course, but it happens with everyone that we do get into a situation where we have to make a decision that okay, either we are ready to move on, and we just going to stay there. And sometimes in that situation we just want to say that okay, I wish I could freeze time. I just wish I could freeze time, so then okay, everything will be smooth and okay and comfortable. And no,
No, it's an
and that was the
indulgence.
moment I was saying that. But also I was
Right.
saying that okay, my foot on ground is sprouting my roots there. Like if I will not move right now, I'm just going to stay forever in this moment right now, in this same place. That was like, okay, it is actually going to just grab me there. I have to make a decision that I'm going to be still or I'm going to move on and fly around. Thank you so much for sharing this poem, sir. This is a
It's so
beautiful.
beautiful. It's so
This is
beautiful, the
so
poem.
beautiful.
Also
Okay, we have 20
sharing
seconds. We have
and
just 30 seconds.
moreness.
Yes, but we will
Yeah, when
continue
we
after
come
a
back.
short commercial break. See you again. Yes.
Mike Zorich, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorich, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorich has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com.
And welcome back to the Moreness Show with Sil and Beena. And before we go, actually, before the commercial break, Sil was about to share something exciting. So please, Sil, continue.
Oh, yeah. Beena's poem. And Beena just came up, right? Talking about, and it came up in the conversation about jump the cliff, growing wings. And so that led me to read, because of appropriateness and linking and adaptability, read Beena's wonderful poem. Really fantastic poem. And what I wanted to say, so Beena shared extra, and we've gone over this poem many times, and I've heard Beena share, and I was with her when she wrote the poem, but her sharing now today brought something new that I hadn't heard before, and that's the magic of sharing. Always something new comes. It's part of Moreness and Moreness-Culture. Always, yeah. It's just too fantastic. It's just too fantastic. All right. The other thing I wanted to say is, our theme is Moreness in action, but I wanted to demonstrate it. First thing is, we didn't have a topic. We were just going to go off the cuff. However, I'm in Arizona, and there's no time change in Arizona. So when the time change happened, I didn't realize. And so when we started, I called Beena. She's busy getting ready because it's early morning for Beena. She's on the other side of the world. But then I had to call and say, no, Beena, you got to come right now. Never mind, getting ready. And, a few minutes later, Beena was there. But this is going to make the show shorter. But it's Moreness in action. Not only are we just extemporizing and discussing off the cuff, but there's Moreness to it, there's depth to it. But also, Beena was under pressure, which is why I picked this picture. It's kind of like it's in the book, Ask Piala. Okay, but I thought, well, in honor of Beena, right? That's why I chose this
Thank you so
background.
much. Thank you.
This
Thank you so
fluidity,
much.
this flexibility, this ability to rise to the occasion and adapt as needed. So furthermore, because we the last show of the day, the producer, Christian, our wonderful producer, just said, well, we can go a little extra, but can't go too much. So we have a shortened show, which means that we have to speed things up a bit, which is also Moreness in action. In other words, I'm pointing out we're adapting. Everything here is about adapting and staying fluid, staying calm, not stressing, and enjoying it, having fun with the creativity of being able to adapt, right? So, Beena, let me ask you, what other examples of Moreness in action can you share with us, please?
Okay.
I have a physical one I want to share if we have time.
Oh, yes, please. Yes.
Okay. He said,
Yes.
well, what are you showing me, sir? Well, this is a gift from wonderful Beena. Beena bought me this gift, right? Because I don't know, my dietitian, I don't take things to the palace. Anyway, there's a reason for it, the technical, practical reason. But it's a stirring cup, and I want to show you. Okay, so look, I press the little button. You see it spinning there?
Wow. Yes.
Okay. Now, watch this. Watch this. I'm going to blow your mind here. That's the little spinning dealie.
Wow.
Look, see?
Wow.
Yeah, you see what I was explaining to you earlier, Beena? And it was hard to explain without showing, right?
Yes.
And there it is. It's like, how on earth does it spin? And it's there. Look, can you see all the way to the bottom, right? You see, there's no hole there. There's nothing there. So how does this attach? How does it spin? How does it work?
Yes.
Magic, Moreness. Okay. Now, for me, magic is things like the gyroscopic effect, induction, the aerodynamic effect, and magnetic effect. This is a magnetic spinner, right? That's how it spins through using. It's incredible. I just drop it in here. I drop it in. You heard the drop there, right? I don't know if you heard it. And it's there. It's in the middle. See, I just dropped it in. Bing. It's right there.
Perfect.
Moreness in action. Now, where's the Moreness here? He said, okay, it was just kind of cool. Beena bought me this as a gift because I have a practical need, right? She didn't know it was a magnetic stirrer, right? I didn't either. I actually just found out afterwards. But here's the Moreness magic. In my main fiction series, called the Biala series, it's a fictional series set in the future. They use this technology that we're seeing in action. And I wrote this a long time ago before you started to see practical uses of this technology. So it has this Moreness. The gift is, in other words, something that would be found in my fiction series, right? Not only is it practical and it really works and it's awesome and all this, but it also has that extra layer of Moreness for this magical usage. Moreness in action. Yeah, and this is all the time. Yes. There's a profoundness to it. And plus, I have an invention that I'm working on. Well, it's already invented. I just have to put it together. But this technology I can now utilize for that. So it's like extra Moreness. It's just, that's the thing with Moreness. It never ends. There's always more. Right? And in my book series, Biala says that, and there's more. And then the group that they with, they're like, chorus, there's always more. Yes. There's always more. It's always more.
I just want to share something for our viewers and whoever is going to watch us, recorded or live, whatever. Why we are sharing and why we keep saying about Moreness. The first thing, just a disclaimer here, that it is not, whatever we were sharing before, it was not just a mutual appreciation association members were talking about. No, what we are sharing is actually what we are experiencing from each other also, because we are practicing the Moreness culture. We are exercising it. We are living it. That's why we are mentioning all these things. It is not just to appreciate me that Sil is saying.
No. Ego is not a part of this. It's demonstration of Moreness.
Exactly, and also that Sil what always do that. So this is something why we are sharing. First, the purpose of sharing is to have fun, always.
Exactly.
The second thing, the second most important thing is
learning.
Hear that yes, it is possible. The problem with this, the idea of Moreness is that we hardly get the idea that, okay, people get grasp it and like they understand that what Moreness is all about.
Right.
Moreness is living in a superlative degree of life. Literally
Yes.
living
Yes.
in a
And
superlative degree of life.
connecting to the superlatives of life, which are
Exactly.
there, but we don't
Yes.
see them because we only see the surface. When you look a little deeper, you stretch a little further, you reach in and extract. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And you get on a path and then there's more, and then there's more, and then there's more. It's
Yes.
fantastic. And when you see the
Like
connections,
like appreciation without having
exactly,
any ego nonsense. Appreciation, of
exactly.
course, about appreciating others, and appreciating and acknowledging yourself also, without having
Right,
any ego, without having any superiority paradigm, just for the purpose of sharing and learning and growing. So this is the first thing. Second thing is about that the power of perspective shifting. This situation could be very easily chaotic, troublesome,
correct, correct,
stressful, and all sort of
correct,
things, because I haven't
correct.
slept like not a single minute till now, since I woke up yesterday, and this is what I'm doing. And of course, on top of that, like it has to be early. And then of
Right,
course, the main theme that there is no theme today. Meena, you have to just come and start sharing your
wonderful.
thought of the day.
That's
This
right.
is what
I
usually
trust
I
you.
do, and I try to practice it. But since trust was not an empty trust, again, we will
Oh
say
no,
that
oh no,
people
oh
have
no.
this idea that in my life, in my whole way of life, living way of life, the trust has to be the alpha. No, actually not. It can be, but actually not. It has to be omega. Like first you build up your character. The most crucial thing is always work on your character. Build your character, then start working on impeccability, then start working on appropriateness, then start working on your trust. Because
Correct,
trusting
correct.
without
All
having
comes
a
together.
character can be really, really
Yes.
deadly. Like we can
And
see
would,
that some people are in power and they have tremendous trust, but it's
yes,
foolishness.
yes. And would you say, Beena, in that list of things to work on, at some point, when the moreness really kicks in, is when the connectivity kicks in. Remember all the
Absolutely.
participants? All the
Always.
participants of Way-Of-Impeccability, because you're making a list of, in your dictionary of power, a list of all the conceptions. At some point, they all start to connect. And then
Yes.
they like come back and their eyes all wide. They're like, ooh, I see the connections now. And that's when they
Me
start
also.
to really connect to
Yes.
moreness. It's
Me
quite
also.
profound.
Yes, I was also there,
Yes, it's
because
too
I still
fantastic.
say that my
Too
mind
fantastic.
was like really a big warehouse where everything was just done. And I could not find
Right,
anything sensible, reasonable, and utilize
right,
it on time.
right,
What
right.
Way of Impeccability did actually sorted out all that awareness and discarded what was not relevant, and of course
Yeah,
update and then make vital connection. And this is my mechanism to check
exactly.
anything, whatever is
Exactly.
coming. If it is connecting, making a vital connection with the previous understanding and awareness, then it is okay for me. And this is
That
how
that
we
con
are checking.
right, that connectivity is what leads us down the paths of moreness. Right?
Yes.
Wherever you are, you always connected to moreness. Always,
Yes.
whichever direction you go, doesn't matter. Right? And when you see the connections, you know how to go there. You see the nodes, and you see from there to go to there, and you see how it connects, and you can follow any path you get to moreness. Christian, please just say, when for us to wrap it up. Not a
Oh
problem.
yes, we can wrap
Yeah.
it up at any point. We don't
Any
want to
point.
leave
Yes,
you
yes.
waiting, but
We can
okay.
keep going as well, for however long.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
no
it's not a
problem.
problem.
You know, a part of our ability to be spontaneous, yes, is
Yes.
because we have so much to share. And it's
Oh
not because we've
yes.
got a lot of data to
Always.
share. We have so much joy to share. We have so
Yes.
much that is profound to us, so much sublimeness, so much superlative, so much excellence, so much wonder, so much learning. But I'm not sharing to teach. No, I'm sharing what I've learned. I'm sharing what's magical to me. And this, we can go on, I don't know, probably forever, Beena, right? Because it's always
Yes.
growing. That's
Because what
why
we are
it's so
doing.
easy. Correct.
Yes,
We're
okay,
just sharing.
we are doing our lives almost daily. Okay, yes, now as appropriate
Yeah,
again, sometimes
yeah.
not. But in our lives, there is, yes, we have a specific theme that we are doing capital R reading, but this is something we don't prepare. We just do this for our own sake and learning and
Correct.
growing and
Our
having
own
fun.
joy. Yeah.
But again, Sil, coming back to the point where like really why you are sharing all these things, our experience today, because we are actually sharing the true application of Moreness-Culture that
It's a demonstration.
you
Yes.
can implement in your own life, in your own specific situation. You can implement when things seems very chaotic, situations are like really stressful and all that. You can still choose to stay calm. You can still choose to have trust, and you can still choose to have fun even in those chaotic situations. This is the purpose of sharing of today's topic, like, okay, as Moreness in action. It could be really stressful. We can be like, oh yes, okay, I'm going to do that, because we have no idea what we are going to do. And this is what we are doing right now. And this
In
is the kind of
action. In
preparation.
action.
Absolutely. Yes. This is the kind of preparation in Moreness-Culture. Everybody has that. If for every situation, not only just to come here and start doing that. Suddenly, like, okay, just for a housewife, I'm saying that if suddenly 100 people and come up and they say, okay, yes, we want food and all that. This could be a disaster for anyone. But if you have the understanding of Moreness-Culture, you can implement that in that particular situation.
You adapt. You just do. You trust in your ability to be appropriate. Yes. And also, this is the magic of impeccability. When you're impeccable, you're seldom surprised in an unpleasant way. You're continually surprised in a positive way. Isn't that right, Beena? Living in Moreness-Culture, there's always awesome surprises. I mean, it's just fantastic. But in a negative way, very seldom, right? That because we've done everything we can do. Yes, and part of it is anticipation. So when you're anticipating, if you can see trouble before trouble sees you, you can get out of the way. Very simple, right?
Now you bring up another thing, another profound concept from Way-Of-Impeccability and Moreness-Culture, preemptive.
Exactly. Everything we do in terms of Moreness-Culture, which is a culture that revolves around the joy and the eagerness to learn and grow. If you're constantly learning and growing, is that not preempting? Preparing? It is, of course. So whatever happens, you've already trained yourself to deal with whatever happens. So whatever happens, okay, thank you. Plus, because you at that point, because your decisions that brought you to that point where whatever is happening have been impeccable decisions. In other words, thoughts through to the end. You've perspective shifted to multiple perspectives. You've been impeccable, which means you've been thorough, diligent, scrupulous, conscientious. Yes, very done everything you can. So you're at that point because that's the right place to be. You're living in attunement, as we spoke last week. If you in living in attunement, force of circumstance, sometimes today we had lots of force of circumstance, right? Earlier and have to finish earlier, short, doesn't matter. Okay, it's very minor force of circumstance, but it's when things are happening via attunement and you get brought to that point of where whatever happens, you know this is the right place to be. Sometimes you've got to jump, and that's you trust that you jump, and you trust you'll grow the wings on, and we've done this many times, right? Now, that jumping, right, in a figurative way, but I'm making the point that whatever happens is inevitably, when you've been impeccable, it is fortuitous, not negative. Right? Look at Beena when we've had the very first time Beena and I, we started doing lives, and it was new for Beena, and I was feeling very poorly, I think. And I said, or there was some emergency, and I said, Beena, you're just going to have to do the show and carry the show today. I'll be here, but I could do. And I basically threw Beena into the deep end. I would never have asked her to do that if I didn't have trust and faith and confidence in her. But she hadn't practiced this before. She had no experience of it. She rose to the occasion and, did it like a champion. This is, again, my point is, when you get to that point, attunement, in retrospect, was that not the most awesome moment in your life?
Yes.
That moment that whatever happened, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It was a gift. It was a gift. It was a gift. This is the
Thank you
magic
so
of
much.
Moreness.
Thank
That's
you
what
so
I'm
much, sir.
saying. If you've been impeccable, you get brought to a point. Whatever happens is a gift, not a stress, not a negative. All right.
Okay.
And
Thank you
yeah,
so much. Thank you so much, Sil, for bringing
so
me
fantastic.
these beautiful memories, of course, like from the poem also,
Yes.
and also that
Yes.
reminding me that when I started and how all these things actually shape up like that. Okay, just before we go, I just want to say that again, just to wrap it up, that jumping off the cliff. And of course, like it's a very famous saying, everybody say that in different words, in different way they articulate this thing. The idea behind that, the concept is, okay, yes, you can jump off the cliff and you can grow because if you keep preparing yourself, and it was also that the most common idea and perception is to avoid perfectionism. Don't fall into the perfectionism.
Yeah.
Just do the things. But again, I would say that a little slight perspective shifting here. Pay attention to that. Why you were at the cliff. It means
Correct.
that you have been working
Correct.
for that. You were
Correct.
not just randomly one day open your eyes and you were at the at the end of the cliff. No. When I got
assuming you've been working on impeccability and appropriateness,
when
right?
I got that, sorry, sir, I was saying that, okay, when I got into this situation, I was working for that. I was not particularly working or preparing myself to do the lives, but I was working on my awareness, on my vocabulary, on my learning, and my public speaking. Everything was working. It was the preparation involved. This is what we are saying that, okay, it is not something random happen. We always make choices to create our future. We are writing our future right now by making deliberate choices. And we are living the consequences of the choices we have made in our past. Life is not random. Life is not random. Be deliberate and make deliberate choices. This is the theme of the day for us. So thank you so much, Sil, for sharing all these things. Thank you so much, Kristen. Okay, yes, to give us time. And now we will see you guys next week.
Yes, and don't forget to train your algorithm, your life algorithm, right, Beena?
Yes. Train your algorithm. Yes. Okay, thank you so much.
Pay attention to the Moreness. There's always Moreness, right, Beena?
Yes.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you next week.
This has been The Moreness Show with Sil and Beena. Tune in each week as they focus on bringing joy and peace of being to us all. Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Bold, Brave TV network. Powered by B2 Studios.